Hello, everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Daily, presented to you by FanArch. I'm your host, Kirk MckNight, author of The Voices of Hockey. Broadcasters reflect on the fastest game on earth, and coming to you from the Pacific Northwest, 2,454 miles from Little Caesars Arena. Now, before we return to LCA for last night's win against the Maple Leafs, let's get to a little bit of thanks and gratitudes following the Christmas season. I want to thank you all for all the tuning in you've done for these episodes. We're closing in on 30,000 views for the page, including almost 3,000 for the Christmas episode alone. So thanks everyone for continuing to tune in, subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing, all the things you've done. We really appreciate it. We're going to keep this momentum going. We're going to really get towards and look to that 6-digit views and look to really get into 4-digit as far as subscribers go, to really gain a little bit more momentum on this. But I appreciate all the help that's been provided. Keep sharing it and keep letting other people know about it, and obviously keep letting us know if there's things that you would like to see more of or less of, things you want to see us maybe improve on. We value your input. So getting back into the action, the Red Wings had 2 games over the weekend. One was a loss, a 5-2 loss in Carolina, and the other was an overtime win at home against the Maple Leafs. Now, the Red Wings are 3-0 against the Leafs this year so far. They got one more game to play to finish out the series, so they're going to look for a series sweep in 2 or 3 weeks when they play them again. But going back to the Carolina loss, it was a 5-2 loss. It was the first loss for Gibby in almost a month. He had an 8-game winning streak going into the game. The last time he lost was a shootout loss in Boston. So Gibby obviously took a hard one, losing on Saturday, but the Red Wings were able to quickly regroup. Sometimes these 2 games in 2 days are a good thing. Sometimes you win that first game and you're a little tired for the second game and maybe don't get the win. But when you have the loss in the first of the 2, it's always good to get back in the saddle again and just try to regroup and try to show something. And to me, it's a great opportunity to come back in and play the last place team in your division when you're the first place team, especially at home. It's an original 6 matchup. It's a longtime rival of the past, so obviously a lot of emotions are going on in the building, and a lot of history is lingering from the rafters, even though a lot of this history took place in the 2 previous buildings of the Red Wings, in Joe Louis Arena and the Olympia. But still, it's an original 6 matchup. Those are always a hot ticket item in the NHL. So it didn't really disappoint. Between the 2 games, it looked like the Red Wings did a little bit better as far as special teams, ironically enough, in the game that they lost. They were 1 for 2 on the power play, and they were 1 for 1 on the penalty kill. Whereas yesterday, they were 0 for 1 on the power play, and they were 1 for 2 on the penalty kill. Now, Benny tripped the Maple Leaf and basically got in the box, and so that one penalty kill that they let slide by, that was Benny's divot to replace. So we'll see where he does. He didn't do it in the game itself. He didn't replace his divot with a point, whether it be a goal or assist, but we'll see where he replaces that divot a little down the road. Obviously got into a little bit of a scrap start to be, but Benny's a fighter. But yeah, let's see how long it takes him to replace that divot. But still, all is forgiven. It's a 3-2 victory in overtime. Speaking a little bit about the actual overtime winner, Eds was the one who scored the game-winning goal, and it seemed like the most unlikely of circumstances, considering the fact that he took a puck off the knee earlier in the game and had to go to the locker room. So he got a little magic done. He didn't reveal any secrets of the training staff and what they did, but it was some magic, and obviously he was able to come back and put the game back into the Red Wings' hands, and you gotta feel for the Toronto goalie for the play that he did. Obviously, he went out of the crease, trying to move the puck off the ice. Didn't get to where he wanted to. Had to quickly regroup and come back to the crease to try to defend. And Eds basically was able to just dangle it a little past him and just put it in the back of the net for the game winner. So Red Wings win, 2 points out of a possible 4 of the weekend. But honestly, if you look at the 3 games leading up to the Carolina game, to basically say you're playing the Capitals twice, the Stars once, and the Hurricanes once, and you're going to come out of those 4 games with 6 points, that in and of itself is a huge victory for the Red Wings. So yes, you can't win them all. Carolina's a very tough team. It was a very tough crowd to play against, and it was a very tough road game for them. But like I said, they rebounded the very next day. They got 2 days off before they take on the Jets on New Year's Eve. So good for the Red Wings to get a little bit of rest, especially after playing 2 days straight. Now, looking into the rookie class for the Red Wings, and looking over the rookie class over the NHL, I wanted to do a little bit of studying up on this because I was noticing that Finns had gotten his 9th goal, and I was like, okay, this is great. For a rookie, he's just lights out, and I didn't want to get ahead of myself as far as the Calder Trophy discussions, and I'm glad I didn't, because looking at the rookie class right now, Davidoff. That sounds like a curse that you'll just say when you miss a shot on a golf swing. Davidoff, but he's at 30 points, a Montreal rookie, and then Seneca for Anaheim's right behind him with 29. So those are two that are really probably in the talks right now for the Calder. And then back behind them is Schaefer from New York Islanders with 24 points. Ryan Leonard of the Capitals with 20. Oliver Kaspinen from Montreal. So another Montreal rookie. We got 2 of the top 5 rookies coming out of Montreal. So that's a very promising thing for those Habs in their rebuild and all that they're trying to do and get back to relevance again up there at the top of the Atlantic Division if they can. But yeah, they're trailing us now. I think they dropped down to 3rd and Tampa Bay's up to 2nd, still trailing the Red Wings. But yeah, when you got 2 of the top 5 rookies in the league, obviously you got some promising future. But the Red Wings have 2 of the top 10 rookies in the league, because you got Finns with his 19 points, basically sitting at I think he's sitting at 6th, and then Axel with his 10 points is sitting at 10th. So hey, there's only 2 teams that have 2 in the top 10, Montreal and the Red Wings. So that's a good group to be around if you think about that. If you have 2 of the top 10 rookies in the league, plus you have, like I've always been saying, you got these basically more veteran than you would think with 4 or 5 years under their belt with Mo and Lucas Raymond, and then the veterans themselves. So I can't say enough about the future of this team, especially when you got 2 of the top 10 rookies going at it right now and making some numbers and really assisting each other on their efforts. So good for them, and we'll see how this whole Calder Trophy picture starts to look in the next few weeks. Let's see if Finns and Axel can kind of ascend those ranks on that rookie list or not. Back to last night's win against the Maple Leafs. Appy got his first goal since coming back from the IR, and I believe he's got 4 goals over his 29 games played. So he's coming back, and he missed he missed about 10 games while he was on the IR. Came back, I think, maybe a little over a week ago. But something to think about with Appy is the fact that this is his first season with the Red Wings, so he's still, coming to his own. He's basically been in the league for 8 seasons. He played a little over a half a season in Seattle, and that's basically sandwiched, that is the meat of the sandwich, which is Winnipeg for him. He played a few seasons in Winnipeg, went to Seattle, like I said, for a little more than half a season, then came back for another couple of seasons for Winnipeg before coming over to Red Wings for this season. So, he's got 10 points on the season, but he got a pretty big one tonight. And one thing I will say about tonight's goal that Appy had against Toronto was the fact that it came basically, let's see, what was it, 23 seconds. I had to look on that one. 23 seconds after they took the lead, he took the lead right back as far as taking it away from them and tying it up. And so when that happens, obviously it's a confidence builder for your own team, but it can be a bit of a confidence backbreaker for the team that just scored, because it didn't give them enough time to settle in after taking that lead. Obviously, it's something that probably lingered a little bit. Game went to overtime. You end up with 1 point instead of 2. Having a late lead in the game, not really that late, but I guess a third period lead, having it taken away within 23 seconds, obviously it can be a mental block, or can create a mental block for you as a player, and that's exactly what happened. So Appy, good job for that. what better way to get your first goal since coming back from the IR than to do that, to have that equalizer, to really take that confidence right back from them as they started to build it in the third. And, when you got a player like Matthews, the last thing you want is for them to have that kind of confidence. They are missing Marner. Obviously, they're missing him a lot. They're sitting in eighth when they were pretty much a perennial first, second, or third place team around this time of year, and now they're sitting at eighth, and the Red Wings are sitting at first. So how the tables have turned, what a difference one player can make with Marner being absent. But good win for the Wings. Great for them to kind of go into these 2 days off with that regrouping win. Now, Appy is who I'm going to quote for today's No Cap recap, because Appy was in the locker room and, he got one of the goals. He didn't get the one that won it, but Eds got the one that won it. But like I already said, that Eds took that puck to the knee. And this is what he had to say. This is what Appy had to say about Eds. He said, this is what the AI translator will say. Dude straight up rose from the dead. Came back and sniped a totally sick goal. Real clutch game, though he shut down the top guys. No cap. That PK, though, straight grit. Blocked the first one and couldn't even skate. Still got a piece of the next one. Total karma. How he got rewarded at the end with that OT game winner. Yeah. He did shut down the top guys. No cap. Good for Eds. Good for Appy. Basically, we're on the Kane watch now. It was Kane's first game back, so that's another note from last night's game. Kane had been out for a handful of games, and he's at 498 in his career. Obviously, any game that Kane's showing up and is dressed, you're 2 goals away from that 500 mark. He's within maybe, I think, 8 points of tying Madonna for career points for an American-born player. But still, obviously, with Kane back in the lineup, those are the kinds of things that are going to happen. Those are things we're going to keep a watch on, see how it all unfolds here in the next couple weeks. Maybe just get it out of the way, get number 500, pass Madonna, and then here we go. Let's put the Red Wings in that driver's seat, trade deadline and beyond, and just see how things unravel for them. So, like I said, we'll talk a little bit now tomorrow to set up game against Winnipeg. It's going to be a 6:30 start on New Year's Eve. Give people a little bit of time after the game to either go celebrate the Wings win or just look forward to a new year and a resolution for the Wings to maybe win in the year to come. But until then, this has been Red Wings Daily, presented to you by FanArch. I'm your host, Kirk MckNight, LGRW from the PNW.